Hello, this is Steve, and this is our sustainable journey. Today is kind of a part 2 from last week. We did some sifting, and somebody mentioned in the comments about the separate bins that we put the unfinished sifted material into, and I want to show you that process and kind of show you why we do what we do the way we do it. So this is the tray that we had, one of the trays that we had sifted out last week, and you can see there's certain things in there. These are stickers. These aren't going to ever make it through. There's little pieces of plastic, sucker stick, that's pretty gross. The shell of some sort of gourd or something. This is a K-cup inside, I think. This will never break down through the worms. It's just not the right material. So we'll set that aside. A little bit more plastic. And you can see, like, you know, some bones, another bone, seeds, you know, pumpkin seeds and stuff, but nothing too crazy in here. You know, one of those bags, green compostable bags. This, I think, is another one of those K-cup internal doodads, so that's not gonna work. That aside. Here's the liner for coffee cup. That is that might be the turkey that I was looking for a few weeks ago. Bones. They just take a lot longer, and that's pretty much it, right? So this stuff doesn't look terrible. Oh, fruit sticker. Fruit stickers never break down. Plastic. This is the cellophane from windowed envelopes. That's what that's from. So we just kind of go through each tray, pick it out as best you can. I mean, if you really wanted to get finite, you can take a scoop, put it in another tray, kind of spread it out, get a good close look at it. I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into another tray. And so I have one set up here, and I didn't sift this one, I just tossed it all in here. So we have more K-cup inserts, tea bags. Certain types of tea bags do not break down, but what's interesting is the tea inside does. Open it up. So you see the tea inside. You can see that is all broken down, so we'll just empty it out, put these aside into the garbage pile. All right, so then we just have this stuff, right? So what I use, a little bit of plastic, cellophane or something. So what I do is I will then use fruit sticker. I will use one of these 15-gallon totes, and I will fill it probably. This is probably as full as I want to go. Maybe half, maybe 3/4. And then we'll get some worms, put them in there. Just the same old regular wigglers. There's nothing special. We're not using a different type of worm or anything like that. I only use red wigglers. There's probably some blues in there, but mainly red wigglers. We'll pop them in here, and we'll leave them alone for a month, and then we will, oh my gosh, it is so hot, and then we will come back and check on it and resift. And that's where it gets a little bit more manual, because when you're using these trays, the way I have them set up is I don't have it as a 2-tier, I have it as a single tier. So there's no holes in this, there's no drainage. So I tend to run these a little bit moist, not wet. You don't want them wet, but moist. Because that, I don't know, I like all my bins to be a little bit moister than most people do, and then for these types. And then, so we'll have to have it dry out a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll put it out into like this tray here, and we'll put it all on one side, and then we'll using like the light method, or just put it out in the sun for a little bit. The worms will bury themselves down, and then we'll scrape off the top layer. And I'll probably show you that in a month. Unfortunately, you're not going to see it for a bit, but we'll do that to pull the castings out, and then we'll take what castings are left, we'll put them on the sifter and sift them through one more time, and then we'll put them all, marry them all back into the tray again, and then we'll probably start combining bins depending on how much gets processed from that grouping, and then we can go from there. So now we've sifted out the castings, we've got the tray set up, but I need worms, right? And what better place to get worms than from the top of one of the CFTs. So we just go in there, and I might scrape down a little bit and grab, you know, if I find a big pile of them or whatever, I'll just grab this and I will pop that into the box that I've created. So let's do that. I don't like carrying them across the barn. Let me find a tray to put them in. So I've got my tray. I will grab some worms. No real science. It's not like there's any particular set of worms that are better than others or what have you. It's easier in October to do this because we do an extra pickup from our food scrap customers of just pumpkins, and so all the worms come to the top because they love pumpkin, and so it's easier then to pull out worms. But I'm just looking for big clumps. And I know you're going to be mixing sifted castings with unsifted castings, and that's okay. I'm trying to pull out the bigger chunks of stuff. But let's see. Oh, here we go. There they all are. Right, just a scoopful. So that should be enough for one tray. I'm gonna pull out this eggshell because otherwise that's gonna be going forever. There we go. So then what we'll do is we'll take these guys, pop them in, and that'll be their new home for a few months. They'll grow, they'll breed, they'll eat all this stuff down. And then I will do this a bunch more times with these other trays that were sifted out. And then we'll have a bunch of these to sort. I know this is like crazy manual labor, and you don't have to do any of this. I just like it to know that I've gotten through everything. I'm kind of OCD like that. Like I want to make sure every ounce is processed. And if it's not, I want to know why or what we can do better to get this stuff out. So we can get everything, all the food scraps that we collect processed, or, you know, recycled or thrown away if it's trash stuff like these things. Because that's the whole idea, is to keep all this out of landfills if we can. So this stuff, we'll get its home in another bin. So I'll set up a few more of those with all the stuff we sifted last week, and we'll put them on a shelf, and we'll check back on them. So what I do is I'll label them with today's date, or I guess last week's date, the date we sifted them officially, and then a month from now we'll check on them again and see if they have gotten through everything. That'll be it. Okay, so we're feeding the worms, and one of our viewers, Colleen, is also part of our food scrap pickup service and complains that she never gets to see her buckets getting dumped in the CFTs. So I happened to give her, she's got separate buckets so that I could spot it, because I don't really keep track of whose bucket is whose, whatever. Anyway, this is her bucket, I assume. So here you go, Colleen. This one's for you. Yay. Lots of corn and whatnot. And some tortillas. We'll get those out later. I have to scoop that out. So there you go. You've now seen your bucket being dumped. Let me tell you, that corn is going to take a while for the worms to get through the cob. The corn itself won't be long at all. But yeah, there you go. Now you've seen, oh my gosh. Now you've seen, do I have food on my face? Now you've seen your bucket being fed to the worms. Ta-da! Awesome, they'll love it. Thank you.